Now we discussed that how agricultural production increased. Now how it led to the other things, what were the outcomes of the new agricultural technology that we are going to discuss over here. There was an almost immediate increase in the amount of the food production that we discussed, that this led to the increasing production of the food. As a result, the better diet was available for the people. The greater use of the plants like the peas and beans meant more vegetable and proteins in the diet of the average European people. As a result, it was a better source of the food. And secondly, the fodder was also increased, and that was also good for the animal. So this better food which was given to the people, that led to the increasing lifespan of a common man. As a result, population started increasing in Europe. Some of these new technological changes cost a lot of money, so whatever changes were made by the peasants, some were very cheaper as well as some used to be very costly. So these costly changes were not done by the peasant because they could not afford it. As a result, they were helped by the lords. So lord used to set up water mills and windmills. So these were the major projects which were undertaken by the lords, and that was done to help the people, to help the peasants, so that agricultural production can be increased. And if the agricultural production will be increased, that will also lead to the increasing income of the lord. Holding which were smaller could more efficiently cultivated. As I told you that now population increased. As a result, average land holding size which was there with these peasants, that started decreasing. So now they were having less land which they had to cultivate. As a result, they were having more time for other activities. So they used to be involved in some other activities like the entertainment, like doing some other creative works. So they started setting up forges and smiths in the villages where iron tipped plows and horseshoes were made and repaired cheaply. So they started doing this kind of work where they used to repair the plow, they started making the horseshoe. As a result, they started doing some other work, and where they started getting more money. So they started their own creativity, and this creativity later on led to the industrialization of Europe. From the 11th century, the personal bond that had been the basis of the feudalism, means the peasants were totally loyal to the lord and the lord was giving them the land. So the connection between the peasant and the lord was through the land, but that started becoming weakening because of the other work which was done by the peasants. As a result, their activity was now more based upon the money. So the money based activities started to be done by the peasants, and that led to the less dependence of these peasants upon the lord. So the bond between the lord and the peasant started declining, and that led ultimately to the fall of the feudalism. Now, what other changes took place after the agricultural production increased? Another order also emerged, and that was the middle class, and it was known as the fourth order. New towns were set up, and the people used to live in the towns now. Expansion of agriculture was accompanied by the growth of three related areas. First is population, second was the trade, and the third was the town. Selling center for agricultural surplus. So surplus production was there in the agriculture, and the peasants required market for selling this surplus production. As a result, they started finding out the selling center. So these selling center initially were organized fortnightly, weekly or monthly. Later on they became the regular markets. So market of tool and clothes also started emerging because the tools were required by the farmers, and the money which they used to get by selling the crops, that was used by these farmers to purchase the clothes for them as well as their family members. So towns like feature a town square, a church, roads where merchants build shops and homes, an office, and a town administration started emerging in European continent. In other places, towns grew around large castles. So this is a trading town which we discussed earlier, that where the market used to be there and where the exchanges of the goods and production used to take place. There was another kind of town which used to grow around a bishop's estate or around a large church, and these towns were known as the cathedral towns. Now, in continuation of the fourth order, we are reading here. In towns, instead of service, people paid taxes to the lords. Earlier they used to provide tax services to the lord's field. Now the people started giving money to the lord in the form of taxes. Many people in towns were free peasants and escaped serfs who provided unskilled labor to the shopkeeper as well as to the merchants. So serfs used to fled away from the estate of the lord, and they used to hide themselves in the towns. So these people started providing the unskilled labor to the people who used to live in the towns. And there were some skillful people also, like the bankers as well as the lawyers. And the trade guilds were also built, and by the 11th century new trade routes emerged with the West Asia, and that led to the increase in the trading activities. Scandinavian merchants, mainly the merchants which used to come from the Scandinavian countries, and that is Norway and Sweden, were selling to the south. They started coming to the south from the North Sea to exchange furs and hunting hogs for the clothes. The fur used to be there on the animal which used to be close to the northern sea. So their fur used to be sold to the people of the south, and in exchange of that fur they used to get the other commodities from the southern people. In France, by the 12th century, commerce and craft began to grow. As a result, this led to the increase in trading activities. Earlier, craftsmen used to travel from manor to manor, so that was a kind of trading which used to be there earlier in Europe. The seller used to move from one place to another place to sell their articles, but now they started settling at one place, and people used to come there to purchase their necessities. So that change also took place in the 12th century, and that led to the increasing or expansion of the market. As the number of towns grew, trade continued to expand. Town merchants became rich and powerful, and they started becoming the rival to the nobility. So later on, more money was given or more taxes were paid to the king as well as to the lord by the rich merchants, and these rich merchants started challenging the authority of the lord, because now they became much closer to the king, because king used to get maximum taxes from these people. So the value of the nobles started declining. Now what were the cathedral towns? As we discussed that there used to be some towns which used to emerge around a church or a bishop's estate, and these towns were known as the cathedral towns. So from 12th century this phenomena started, and these large churches used to be called as the cathedral, and if a town was emerging around that church, that was called as the cathedral towns. Cathedrals were built of the stone. These churches were built of the stone, and they used to take many years to complete. As they were being built, the area around the cathedral became more populated. So they used to be built, and a lot of labor was required, as well as the people also started attracting to that church, and they started settling themselves around that church, and in this way a town used to emerge around that church, and these towns were called as the cathedral towns. When they were completed, they became the center of pilgrimage also, so a number of people used to visit that church. As a result, shops and small markets started emerging around these churches. So a new kind of economic activity started taking place in the cathedral towns, and with the passage of towns, these cathedral towns became much populated. So from this image you can see that this is a cathedral town. You can see that in the center there is a cathedral church. It's a huge building with a great height which could be visible from a long distance, and a town started emerging around this cathedral in a circular form. So this town used to be called as the cathedral town. Now this is another image of a church, that is the Salisbury Cathedral, that is in England. You can see that the church is having a high pitched roof. And why the church was having a high pitched roof? So that it can be visible from a long distance, and whenever sermon used to be given by the priest of the church, that could be heard to a long distance. So the church was designed in that way. Now purpose of using the stained glasses. These churches were having windows, and windows were having stained glasses, and upon those stained glasses there used to be the images and the stories which were related to the Bible. So you can see a window over here, and there are certain images which have been made upon this window, and these were called the glasses, stained glass window. So the glass made the cathedral radiant for the people who were inside during the daytime, and when the light used to be burnt or the candlelight used to be there inside the church, they were becoming visible from the outside. And through these pictures, the people used to understand the stories of the Bible. Especially these images were made for those people who used to be illiterate. So it was a great help for the illiterate people, so they can also learn the stories of the Bible through these images. So that was a feature of these cathedrals. Now everything was going on very well from last 2 or 3 centuries, but by the time of 14th century there was a kind of crisis. So here we will discuss about that crisis. Now what crisis took place in the 14th century? Europe's economic expansion slowed down due to the 3 factors. First is climatic change. So the climate was favorable after the 11th century. It entered into a warm phase. As a result, agriculture was expanding. But by the coming of the 14th century, a lot of changes took place in the environment. As a result, the agricultural expansion stopped. 300 years had given way to the bitterly cold summers. So again, Europe entered into a cold phase, and that resulted in the loss of the forest and pasture land, because these were already converted into the agricultural land. So there was no forest, there was no pasture land, and the soil which was continuously used for 300 years, that also became exhausted. Population growth outstripped the resources. I told you that in the past there used to be rapid production or rapid increase in the production of the agriculture. As a result, the population was getting better diet, so their life span also increased, and that resulted in the expanding of population in these towns or in these areas where the agricultural productivity increased. But this population growth was also having a harmful effect, and that was that it started outstripping the resources, means the agricultural resources started declining nowadays because the Europe entered into a cold phase. As a result, the crops which were produced at that time, that could not fulfill the need of the people of the Europe at that time, because population was already too much. Then it also led to the decline in the trade. So why the decline in the trade took place? As I told you that now the activity started becoming more money based, and for money there was a requirement of metal from which the money used to be minted, the coins used to be minted. So a severe shortage of metal money because of the shortfall in the output of silver mines. The European silver mines started exhausting by that time. As a result, the money which used to be minted in the past, that could not be minted now. So there was a shortfall of the metallic money, and that also led to the declining in the trade. And the worst is yet to come, that was the plague, and it is also known by the name of Black Death. You can see from the image that the people are suffering from a disease, many of them have died. So this was an epidemic, and that led to the worst toll in the history of mankind. Around 5 crore people approximately died because of this epidemic that was called as the Black Death, and it was the bubonic plague. Now plague, it came in 1347 and it continued up to the 1350. Along with the ships came rats, because I told you that due to the agricultural expansion or the production which increased in the agriculture, that led to the increasing of the trade, and the trade started taking place between different countries at that time. Like European continent's trade took place with the African as well as the Asian country, and due to these trades, many mice and rats started migrating from one country to another country, and that also resulted in the spread of deadly disease like the bubonic plague infection, and this is mainly caused by the rats. The modern estimate of mortality in the epidemic is that 20% of the people of the world of Europe died. Whole of Europe died, means 20% population of the Europe's total population died due to this epidemic, and at some places the death toll was quite high. It was up to the 40% of the total population. So a lot of people or a large number of people started dying because of this bubonic plague. The population of Europe, which was 73 million in 1300, now it remained only 45 million in 1400. So there was a lot of depopulation, and this depopulation resulted in a major shortage of the labor, because the economic activities required labor, and labor shortage was there because people died in this bubonic plague. So that also resulted in an economic crisis. Wage rates started increasing because the people were less and the demand of the labor was high. As a result, the prices of the labor was increased twice or thrice, and prices of agricultural goods also started dropping down because there was less demand of the eatables, because people were not there to purchase those eatables. So agricultural prices started declining and wage rates started increasing, and that led to the less income of the lord as well as the children. So far we discussed about the bubonic plague, the 14th century crisis, and now what was the social effect of these all disasters on European continent and its society, that we are going to discuss over here. So first of all, due to the lack of income, the lord was trying to increase his income by asking people to do again the labor, instead of he was taking the labor rent from them. So this resulted in social unrest in the European continent. So we will discuss about this social unrest. The income of the lord was badly hit. Why it was hit? Because there was depopulation. As a result, there was less worker, and the warm phase was also over, and the Europe entered into a cold phase. So this resulted in less income of the lord. That's why he wanted to increase his income. As a result, he wanted to impose the old social order which used to be there before the 14th century. They tried to revive labor services which was done by generally the peasants, and they used to do labor in the farm of the lord, and that was called the labor rent that we have discussed earlier. So he wanted to impose the same system again, but this was violently opposed by the peasant, particularly the better educated prosperous ones, because the people got educated by that time and now they were much aware about their rights. As a result, they did not accept whatever the lord wanted to impose. In 1323, peasants revolted in Flanders. So there was a revolt, and many revolts took place in France as well as in England. So two examples are given over here. Like in Flanders, it happened in 1358, and in England it happened in 1381. So peasants revolt started in Europe, and that was a new phenomena which was going on in the European continent. It means the old feudal system was weakening by that time. Despite the severe repression, the sheer intensity of the peasant opposition ensured that the old feudalism could not be reimposed. Now lord also understood that the old system now was not possible to be reimposed, because there was a lot of criticism as well as lot of opposition from the peasant community as well as so-called the townspeople. Now, during this scenario, what kind of political changes took place, that we are going to discuss over here. In 15th and 16th century, European kings strengthened their military as well as the financial power. So this was an opportunity for the king of European countries. They created powerful states, and like Louis XI, he was a monarch in France and he created a powerful state. Maximilian in Austria, Henry VII in England, and Isabella and Ferdinand in the Spain. So they created powerful empire. As a result, the king became stronger by that time, and this was also a danger to the old feudal system, and this was not a healthy sign for the old feudal system. Started the process of organizing standing armies, a permanent bureaucracy, national taxation in the Spain as well as in other countries, and apart from that, navy also started playing the role in Spain as well as Portugal, and they started expanding their empire. So these were the happening which took place at that time in England, and European power started expanding their trade overseas. So this kind of happening was taking place. These were the political changes which were taking place at that time after the 14th century. Now, what was the impact of these political changes? First of all, the army was made very powerful because this was the need to expand their empire. As we discussed that now the European power were becoming imperialistic. Use of gunpowder and cannon, that was also started in Europe. Decline of the feudal structure, because there was a lot of opposition at the part of peasant as well as by the lord, by the king. So the feudal structure did not remain that much powerful now. They also organized taxes, and these taxes were used for making the powerful army as well as the naval power. Suppression of the feudal lords. Feudal lords were suppressed by that time by the king, because the king did not want that the feudal system should be reimposed again, because this was an opportunity when the centralization of power could be done at the hand of the king. So king wanted that the lords should be suppressed, and whenever there used to be an opposition on the part of the lord against the king, they were suppressed with the powerful army. Lord changed as the supporter. So now this was the opportunity for the lord, whether they wanted to remain an enemy or rebellions in the eyes of the king, or they wanted to be a supporter of the king. So they changed their situation and they became the supporter of the king, because now it was a futile action to revolt against the ruler, because the ruler became very powerful after the 14th century. As a result, now they were made the governor in different territories. So this was a renewed kind of feudalism which took place in Europe, which was different from the old feudalistic system. And now money was used for more transactions, and more exchanges were taking place in the form of money, and that also declined the old feudal system. So struggle between the parliament and king was also taking place, and there were many instances like in England, we will discuss over here. Now there are two countries which we were discussing. One was the France and second was England. Now what political changes were there and what were their impact, that we are going to discuss over here. In the reign of the child king Louis XIII of France in 1614, a meeting was held of the French Consultative Assembly. And why this meeting took place? Because he wanted to generate more income for the state, and they made an assembly, and that was called the Estates General. And there were three estates which belongs to the three order. First was the clergy, second was the nobility, and the third was the rest, that is the peasants, free as well as unfree peasants. And it was not summoned again nearly 2 centuries, and finally it was summoned in 1789 when the king wanted to impose some more taxes upon the people, and that also resulted in the French Revolution. So this is the history of France, and ultimately in 1789 the monarchy was ended in France and it became a republican government. Now what happened in England thereafter? The Anglo-Saxon had a great council which the king had to consult before imposing any tax, because we discussed that the William of Normandy, who crossed the English Channel and who set up his own kingdom in England, before that there used to be Anglo-Saxon rulers, and from Anglo its name of England has been derived, that is the Angleland or England. And they were having a different kind of system. They were having already a council, that was a kind of parliament, and it needs to be consulted before imposing any new kind of taxes. And this developed into what was called the parliament, which consisted of the House of Lords and the House of the Commons. The House of the Lords belonged to the nobles, and the House of the Commons belongs to the common people. They may be the trader, they may be the peasant as well. And King Charles, who wanted to impose the taxes upon the people, when he called this meeting of parliament, then he was opposed by the nobles as well as by other people, and finally he was executed. But thereafter again the monarchy was reimposed in England. So we can see that the England is still a monarchy, but this monarchy was set up again after the death of King Charles, and it was set up with some conditions and terms that parliament will be regularly called and everything will be discussed in the parliament before taking any kind of decision. So we can see that in England there is a different system, and in France there is a different system nowadays. France is completely a democratic government, but in England there is still monarchy. But every decision is discussed in the parliament, and parliament is still having two houses, the House of Lords as well as the House of Commons. And Indian parliament has also replicated the same. Here there are two houses, one is Rajya Sabha and second is Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha is equivalent to that House of the Lord, and Lok Sabha is equivalent to that of House of Commons. Thank you.